And we're live. Doc Holliday, how are you?
Great, Steven J. We're here at Villa Roma Resort.
Oh, yeah. Good times here at the Villa Roma. What week is it, Doc?
President's Week.
President's
Week
Week.
7.
The Long Island Invasion, they call it. And, of course, this is a little different than what we're used to, Doc. We're on a brand new platform. We signed a one-day contract. We don't know how long this is going to go. And we're on Blackjack TV, our debut.
BlackjackTV.net.
.net.
And along with us, our producer today. Hey, let's hear it for Bobby Blackjack.
Yeah.
Hello.
How are you, Bobby?
I'm not too bad.
Big day in sports. How about it?
It's the week after Super Bowl, so it's kind of a weird time. It's your first Sunday without any football, unless you're watching the XFL,
Which we highly doubt anyone is. I didn't even know they really played until I found out today. But, Doc Holly, like you said, even though it's the week after the Super Bowl, we still got a day full of sports. And, if you're not a big, you love NFL football, but now this is your time to kind of dive back into college basketball if you haven't been paying attention. We had NASCAR, the Daytona 500, the Great American Race starts today.
Big race. It just started, I believe.
Oh, yeah, we're just minutes away. We have Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson at the top. And you got some college basketball we're looking to. We got the All-Star game tonight. We also have the Genesis going on right now, Doc.
That's right.
Yeah, it's going to be good times.
So what do you think of golf? Who do you think is going to take it?
Well, if you're in the PGA right now, you're in a pretty good spot. You didn't know what was happening with Live Golf. You lost people like Koepka, DeChambeau, Mickelson, and you're wondering how could they replace these players. But Doc Holliday, they're doing pretty good when we have these new stars emerging. You have guys like Max Homa from last year into this year. Also Scotty Scheffler. John Rahm is back into it. The sport of golf is in very good hands right now. There might be some buyer's remorse for some of those guys who went over to Live, but the PGA is in great hands. Max Homa, John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, like I said, they're the three top dogs on top.
What about this Keith Mitchell, 12 under par, three back?
There's always got to be one, right? Some, I don't want to call him a no-name, but someone who you might not have heard of. Keith Mitchell up top. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for the underdog.
Let's go Mitchell today at the golf.
Yeah. Also, we have Tiger Woods finishing up right now. He had a very good first day and a third day. That second day, that's what Tiger Woods is always kind of, ever since that injury a couple of years ago, that unfortunate car crash. Tiger Woods, the consistency, which was really what made his entire career, how consistent he was. Now with the bothered leg, his back is never going to be 100% again. This is really tough times for Tiger Woods to kind of maneuver. And, 4 days is a lot, especially at a course like the Genesis. Not too easy on the legs. Tiger Woods had a good 2 days. We're just glad to see him out there no matter what the score is. So Tiger Woods, I believe he's at even par right now. But yeah, John Rahm and Max Homa is making it interesting right now. Max Homa, what a run he's been on. He's really the fan favorite. He's taken on kind of no one's ever going to be a Phil Mickelson, but Max Homa, he's a social media favorite. Everyone loves Max Homa. And of course, you have guys like Rory McIlroy just below him, Justin Thomas also. The Genesis has been a good week of golf so far.
Great week of golf. And we look forward to the Masters coming up, of course.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be a great month of sports. Right now, North Carolina playing NC State at NC State. It was a close one for a while. Right now, NC State up by 7 with just about 3.5 to go in that game.
As you know, Doc, and probably all of our viewers who don't know, I'm from Oswego, New York. That's only about 45 minutes from Syracuse. A lot of Syracuse basketball fans there, and they're very unhappy right now with the work that Jim Boeheim has done. Oh, my goodness. They put off a couple of strings of good runs. They haven't really beaten a determined team in this NCAA tournament, or coming up to the NCAA tournament. They need a token win, as they call it, kind of a resume builder. Yesterday was their opportunity against a very good Duke team. I know they're not ranked, but they're just there on the bubble of the top 30. Of course, bitter rivals between Syracuse and Duke at the Dome. We don't call it the Dome, but we still call it the Dome. Syracuse basketball, of course, they didn't just fall short. They fell flat on their face, 77-55. And really, around the Syracuse area, they're getting real tired of Jim Boeheim real fast. And you thought that, he's always going to be there. He's got the key to the city. He's got the key to their hearts. He's not going anywhere. But really, a lot of Syracuse fans are afraid that not he's checked out, but even worse, the fans have checked out too. So Syracuse basketball, they lost yesterday, 16-11 right now. It's going to take probably a very deep tournament run for even consideration. But crazier things have happened, Doc. Syracuse always gets that. They always get the benefit of the doubt going into the tournament. So we got plenty of good college basketball. We're only really T-minus a month until March Madness, maybe
March
even T
Madness.
minus 2 or 3 weeks until the divisional tournaments start playing. So we got a lot of good college basketball, which is really a treat because, for someone who may enjoy putting down a couple bucks, I know you don't really partake in gambling that much, Doc, but if you are, you gotta love this March Madness. What's going on right now? Football, of course, will be the cash cow for all the sporting, for all the sports. But you know what? March Madness is a great time to put a couple bucks down.
And I like hockey. I really like hockey, and there's some great teams out there this year that are really doing some great things with younger players coming up through the ranks. And I like the Canucks this year. They're really looking strong.
Oh yeah, the Canucks are a good team, but right now it runs through the Boston Bruins. They're a difficult team. They absolutely whopped the Predators and the Islanders. Now, two teams that are having pretty off years, not really standard to what the Islanders and Predators are used to. But those Boston Bruins, man, they are very, very difficult to match up against anyone. They're having a historic season right now up there in Boston. Man, they're playing tough. They play every night. They always play consistent, physical hockey. Now, really, the team that I love the most in hockey would be my Oswego Lakers, because that's the NFL up there. They love their hockey up there at the Mistake by the Lake, right by Lake Ontario, Oswego hockey. But yeah, I think the Canucks, that is a very good bet if you're looking to put some money also on the NHL.
Well, I can tell you this. Yesterday, the big surprise, in fact, going back to college basketball for me, was the Baylor Bears up big on Kansas at the half. And you take a little nap, come back, and Kansas is up big on Baylor and just takes out Baylor.
Yeah, and Kansas, the winners of last year's NCAA tournament, Kansas is going to be very tough again. But really, when we're talking about college basketball, we're not talking about Duke. We're not talking about North Carolina. We're not talking about Villanova. We got Gonzaga up in there. I believe they're the 13th seed. But a lot of those teams that are in transition from coaches, of course, Coach K leaving last year, Jay Wright leaving last year, these really token staple college basketball programs that we once know and love. It's going to be a very interesting tournament, Doc. It seems like no team can really stay up at the top. So maybe if you believe in miracles, a Cinderella team could pop in, perhaps win it. This is going to be a very interesting NCAA
Maybe a Belmont.
tournament.
Maybe a Belmont Bruins.
Belmont. Hey, we know someone who went to Belmont, right, Doc?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Matt Holiday on air. iHeartRadio.
Oh, yeah. And really, I mean, when you look at the landscape of the NCAA and the top 30, a lot of rotating pieces up top for that number one seed. Alabama was there for just a short time. They lost. As you said, Purdue, they also lost. It's really tough to see who's going to be at the top.
So I sent you a message to put on your page. The links to be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as we go from NCAA, Doc, I know it's on everyone's mind. I think we got to recap the Super Bowl, right? Because that was one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen, maybe one of the best Super Bowls of all time over there in Arizona. The Eagles and the Chiefs, I mean, not really big a surprise in the matchup with the Eagles and the Chiefs, but that game going down to the wire, for Eagles fans, they're going to know it as the game where they got robbed by a call. For the Chiefs fans, it's going to be the game that they call the start of the Chiefs dynasty. And for the NFL, man, you couldn't have that game over soon enough. As great as the game it was, way too many different pieces distracting everyone from the game between such a slippery field. It looked like they were playing on an ice rink, Doc Holliday, with all the paint, everyone sliding around. It took them 2 years to grow the grass that they did for that Super Bowl, $800,000. And believe it or not, people are still slipping and sliding. Who even knows the grass that they used? But for that Super Bowl, man, it was really a black eye for the NFL. But for the NFL, you have a lot of questions answered as far as the officiating, as far as the field. It really took away from what was a really remarkable game, Doc Holliday. I know Doc Holliday put on a couple bucks for the Eagles. And, man,
I could say the Eagles were up at the half, and I don't know of too many teams that have blown that kind of lead after being up so big.
And Falcons fans, cover your ears.
There you go. That's who it was. It was the Falcons in the bowl. Brought back, I was having like flashbacks of the Falcons, the Dirty Birds. Unreal. The Eagles should not have given up that many points in the game. No way. No way.
You knew it was going to be. You knew it was going to be a shootout between two of the highest scoring offenses in the NFL. Jalen Hurts was the best quarterback on the field. And when you have Patrick Mahomes on the opposite side, that can really rattle an NFL defense, a quarterback, but Jalen Hurts really stepped up to the plate in what was his really first breakout season. Last year was kind of a transitional year for the Eagles. They made the playoffs. They got stomped by the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs. But, I mean, the Eagles really, on a rookie quarterback contract, that's really what everyone's looking at if they need a Super Bowl contender. You've seen it before with the Seahawks, with the Chiefs a couple years ago. They really benefit from having a rookie on a rookie deal so you can get all those players around you. Now Jalen Hurts is up for a big payday after a great Super Bowl performance. Doc Holliday, did you think that that call ruined the Super Bowl for you, or did you think that it was still a great game no matter that holding call at the end?
I didn't like the call myself. He just, within 5 yards, come on. He put his hand, he didn't tug, even though he said he did afterwards. They said he did. I don't know. He said, she said. He said that it was football, but just not the way to end such a epic battle.
And just poor awareness. If you're an NFL referee, you have to examine the moment right there and what happened. You know, you can't expect to just throw a flag at the end of the game in the Super Bowl and expect no backlash. That was really a questionable call. Could have gone either way. Even though the Eagles did say it was a hold, Nick Sirianni, James Bradbury, they all said it was a hold. Just to play it, just the moment that you're in, that's a really brutal call.
Was it a catchable ball? This is what I look at. Was it a catchable ball? You know, in hockey, they say let them play. Come on, let them play some
boys
football.
play, and of course that led to a Chiefs drive. But really, in my eyes, as much as everyone wants to talk about the call, there was no way that the Eagles were going to win, no matter what that call was, because the Chiefs, they were unstoppable in that second half. I can't believe that the Eagles ran a defense where the Chiefs, they love to motion everyone around, and the Chiefs really exposed that by having speedy guys like Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney going back and forth across those different fade patterns, and they ran the same play a couple times, led to some touchdowns. And I mean, the Chiefs, who would have thought that they brought in Kadarius Toney, for I believe it was a 3rd and a 5th round pick to kind of replace Tyreek Hill. He had an amazing game. No one's talking about Kadarius Toney and how great of a game he had, not just the touchdown catch, but also that punt return that set up for a very important scoring drive there at the end of the game. So really, I mean, the Chiefs replacing Tyreek Hill, they thought it was going to be an issue. They had all these different weapons contribute. Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, of course. You have Travis Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't play, so you had to get the rookie Isaiah Pacheco, who ran like he was on a mission. He ran like he was pissed off. And, man, you thought it was going to be a battle of who can probably run the ball the best. Jalen Hurts had a great run game with a great offensive line. Hurts was the best quarterback, like we said out there. So, Doc, do you think that this is the start of a Chiefs dynasty? How far can they go?
I don't like the Chiefs next year. I like them to maybe rebuild just a little bit, but they'll lose some key players, I'm sure. But there's so many good teams out there right now, and I believe the Eagles will be back with this. Jalen Hurts he played his heart out, and tough loss for Jalen.
And if you're Patrick Mahomes, you've only played in the league 5 years, and you already have all these people talking about how great of a quarterback he is. Everyone's ready to put him in the top 5. Now, will he end up there? Yes, but I think just out of respect for all the veterans and all the legends of the game, I just can't put him in the top 5 yet. I feel like I'd be doing everyone kind of a service too early to say, hey, Patrick Mahomes is the top 5 quarterback of all time. He's definitely up there as one of the most accomplished quarterbacks of all time.
So many quarterbacks that you could put into that category over the years. Roger Staubach, Dan Marino, so many. Without even getting to a Brett Favre.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes really building himself up a legacy. Andy Reid
the guys
himself up a legacy as well.
Yes, you could always count on these guys. Now, I've seen some of these quarterbacks have a bad game. Even Tom Brady has a bad game once in a while. But there's some quarterbacks that you could always count on over the years. John Elway, come on, put the ball in his hands with about 30 seconds left, and other teams just feared these guys.
And really, that's what it comes down to in the NFL. If you have the coach and you have the quarterback, everything else can be fixed. We're just coming off a Patriots dynasty where you had Belichick and Brady, and after that, it's, do your job. You have all these different contributing pieces that no one's really heard of. Malcolm Butler. You have the guys like that, really. I mean, Julian Edelman's, Kembrell Tompkins, all these guys that have really put out some good performances for the Patriots. Those rotational pieces. Once you have the coach and the quarterback, you can just about make any roster around you. Those are really the two most important pieces. And as a Jets fan right now, I envy both of those positions, especially right now. We're getting into the quarterbacks for the Jets. We have one guy, Aaron Rodgers, who's probably sitting in the dark right now. I don't think he's watching this. He's on a darkness retreat.
4 days in the dark to make his decision whether he's going to be retiring or maybe going into the limelight of New York.
And you'd think if you're Aaron Rodgers, after a darkness retreat, you might want to come out and it's like Punxsutawney Phil. But if you're Aaron Rodgers, wouldn't it be weird if you went on this darkness retreat and went through all this thinking and went all through this media trouble just to go back to the Packers? I just can't see it. Really, the Packers are ready to move off this guy. They're regretting that contract that they gave him. I think Jordan Love, the young guy, is ready, who they drafted a couple years ago out of UCLA. But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, it's either do you want to risk going to the Raiders, who just got a brand new coach in McDaniels, who did not have a very good year last year. They just moved off of Derek Carr. Do you want to go to the Jets, who they'll always be the Jets, but they got some great young pieces, Doc?
And mucho dinero, a lot of bucks in New York.
And the Jets, they have a lot of money that they can make for cap room. And really it comes down to, I think, those two teams, the Raiders and the Jets. Really the only reason why we're mentioning the Raiders is because they're in a Las Vegas market. And also they got Devontae Adams, his favorite weapon that he's had in a while. And we mentioned the coach and the quarterback, the Jets. I'm not too sure on Saleh, but if I were to hold a gun to your head right now, Doc, who do you think is going to be the Jets quarterback on opening day 2023?
I would say Aaron Rodgers will be a New York Jet. This decision, I bet you, will come just maybe days after he comes out of darkness.
That's music to my ears. Aaron Rodgers, even though you're getting him on a rental, really 1 year maybe. Who knows? One bad year with the Jets could be like Brett Favre 2.0. That'll be it after one season. But
I'm thinking after one season, he puts in his retirement papers, but then does the darkness thing every year and comes out of darkness to predict the Super Bowl winner every year from here on out.
Maybe we should try that here, Doc. Maybe a darkness retreat here at the Villa Roma.
A darkness weekend, perhaps.
Darkness weekend.
Darkness Tuesdays. No one does anything.
That's what it's been like up here on the Mez for the last couple nights. It seems like. But man, I mean, like we were talking about, Patrick Mahomes, what a quarterback to envy. Jalen Hurts, he's going to get a very big deal. And also, there are some more different quarterbacks out there. It's not just Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers. You have a couple guys like Jimmy G, Ryan Tannehill. Let's go to our producer, Bobby Blackjack.
If
you couldn't get an Aaron Rodgers, if you couldn't get a Derek Carr, what kind of quarterback would you get for the Jets? Because it's likely that those two guys may not be it seems like those two might be in the court of public opinion, Jets quarterbacks, but really, Carr, he has a lot of suitors. Aaron Rodgers, who knows what he's going to do? You can never bet on Aaron Rodgers on what he's going to do. But the Jets, you can't get one of those two guys. What other options are you going to?
See, I'm actually against you guys. I think Derek Carr is a better fit for the Jets than Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr, you can get 3, 4, or 5 years out of. And you know what? He's not that bad. I think he was more a victim of their atrocious offense and questionable calls by the owner who should have kept that coach 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Carr has been through a litany of bad head coaches, players, rosters, even ownership. Now, one thing that we can compare it to, looking back just a few short years ago, I know we forgot about him because he had an injured year last year, Matthew Stafford, right? Stafford was caught up in just a very inept Detroit Lions team. Kind of the similar thing that Derek Carr was. Now, a lot of people, if you're a good quarterback on a bad team, they like to call that stat padding. But really, how much can you do for a quarterback? I know we said it's the most important position. There are also 21 guys, offense and defense, that have to do some part, and those are just two very, very bad teams, the Raiders and the Lions. I mean, they're very comparable with Stafford and the Lions and Derek Carr and the Raiders. And I think it's just, you know, we live in a very hot take society, Doc. I think that a lot of people just want to write off the easy option and go for a lighter option. People like Tannehill and Jimmy G have been options for the Jets. Jimmy G is way too injury prone for me. The Shanahan system, they don't have a Kyle Shanahan on their team. No, thank you. And Ryan Tannehill, people are saying that he might be better than Derek Carr. I don't think so. I think he's had the luxury of a great coach in Mike Vrabel, Derrick Henry, a strong running game, and A.J. Brown. Tannehill, no-go.
I have for you.
Sure, go ahead.
There's rumors now, all of a sudden, that Justin Fields from the Bears is going to get traded That's the number one pick. They feel the two quarterbacks coming out, Stroud and Young, are a better overall prospect than Fields. Would you trade for Fields and have a quarterback for the next 10 years?
No, not at all. I mean, if you're Justin Fields, he's a very he had a very good year. He played fantasy football, he had a great year for you. But Justin Fields, I mean, coming off 2 years, you're only gonna get him for 3 years. If you want to give him that option, you need a proven commodity if you're the Jets. I can't go through that. And just think about the quarterback room that you have: Justin Fields and Zach Wilson. In the NFL, it's either you have a veteran at top and then you have a young guy at the bottom, or vice versa, where you have your young star and that veteran quarterback underneath. Two young quarterbacks in that QB room. Who are you going to have? Joe Flacco again? I can't do that again. So that was painful watching our friend Super Bowl Joe, who I think he proved himself to be elite a couple years ago. Not anymore. I just can't give up that draft capital for a guy who I can't even see.
Thinking Mike White. Mike White got a bum deal in New York. They didn't let him go full bore. Mike White the ball for a whole season. Let's see what happens with the Jets.
Mike White's going to get paid this year.
Mike White's going to get paid.
He's going to get a $5-10 million contract or more per season.
He's going to get the Matt Flynn contract. That's what he's going to get.
Just be that pretty good, above average backup.
Yep. And if you're on a team where you're not too sure, maybe a Raiders, maybe if you have a team where you have a very injury-prone quarterback, maybe the Niners want to invest in him, something like that, because you have a couple rookie quarterbacks, or maybe just you want to have a QB competition if you're planning on drafting a rookie, and you want to have him sit down this year and have Mike White maybe play for a couple games, give him a generous deal. I can't give him that money if I'm the Jets. You have way too many options. Even though the Jets do have a couple of pieces that they can move off of for some salary cap relief. Justin Fields is a no for me. Jimmy G is a no for putting it in that Venn diagram of quarterbacks I want. Aaron Rodgers, I'd love to have him, but I'm so sick of him. He's a very, very hot and cold personality. Quarterback, there's no disputing his quarterback play. The weapons that the Jets have this year are definitely better than what the Packers had last year. Now, of course, Matt LaFleur is a wonderful head coach in the Jets. They had his brother until they fired him a couple of weeks ago. But if I'm the Jets, I'm comfortable with either Carr or Rodgers. Why make it difficult? Why do you have to say, I want one, but I don't want the other? I think we all want Rodgers because that guarantees a Super Bowl window for 2 years. But Derek Carr, as Bobby Blackjack said, much more longer, sustainable option. Quarterbacks don't move that often. It's very tough. If you'd have to have an awful season like the Jaguars, like some other teams where you get the number one pick like the Colts and get an Andrew Luck. You either have to have a very, very bad tank season, and the Jets can't do that with all of their young pieces. They can't afford to throw away a season. Or you find a quarterback on the market, you get lucky, like the Rams, like the Buccaneers. You find yourself a veteran, put yourself into the Super Bowl window now. And Derek Carr, he does that. He checks all those boxes. He's a very good quarterback, Doc. I think if you get Derek Carr for the Jets, he's there for maybe 8 years. And I'm willing to take those chances.
Brady comes out of retirement again and goes to the Jets. Brady to the Jets. I like it.
That would conflict me, Doc. That would conflict me because I was born to hate Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He's been torturing me since I was born, really. I was born in 1999. 2001 was really his first season there. So he's been torturing me ever since the day of birth. I did somersaults last year. He came back around. Would I have loved to see him right off in the sunset in the NFC divisional game last year? I wanted to see him get stomped this year in the playoffs by the Dallas Cowboys, which is what they did. And that was, man, and Brady
loved watching that.
And who knows, maybe Brady takes a year off and comes back. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but stranger things have happened in the NFL. The way he keeps his body, the love of his game, it'll never go away. So
let's ask you this, staying on the subject of football. You have the Super Bowl start set. Supposed to start at 6:30 at night. They have the pregame all day. A lot of school kids complaining they're tired the next day going to school. What do you think about it? Maybe changing the time of the game?
Maybe it's not the time of the game that I want to change. I want to change the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday. Let's have that be a holiday, right? Why don't we have all the banks closed? Why don't we have all these federal government buildings closed? The day after the Super Bowl should be a holiday, right? We all just ate. We all feel terrible after all the wings and maybe if you indulged in a beer or two during the Super Bowl, It's got to be a holiday top. That's what I'm saying. The day after the Super Bowl was a very sad day for me when I was in school.
I think it's pretty apparent what the NFL wants to do is extend the week one more week, so that this weekend, today, would be the Super Bowl, because tomorrow everybody's naturally off across the country. So
there we go.
In that direction
like
for
that.
a while now. It's why we have 17-game season. We're eventually gonna have an 18-game season, and then today would be the Super Bowl because you inherently have a national holiday for President's Day.
And week 7 would benefit because they would be here. They'd come in, we'd have a big Super Bowl party while we're packed here with the Emerald Society, Villa Roma. It's a win-win.
I mean, my original idea was to expand the season, give the teams an extra bye, and then an extra playoff spot. That's what they did last year when they put in the new Super Wild Card rules. Maybe an 18-game season's the way to go. The NFL just wants to keep milking that cash cow. I like what Bobby said about making it into a President's Day weekend for the Super Bowl.
And you could stay in prime time. You could have the Daytona race during the day.
Kind of a lead-in.
I mean, why start
Daytona to Super Bowl. I like it.
maybe a later start for the NFL teams? We've already cut a preseason game, which thank goodness that they have done. Maybe that they started a little bit later. You have all this stuff going on in September. You have college football. You have the baseball season. Who knows about the scheduling of the NFL and maybe some things that I'm forgetting. But I think if you push that week back 1 week, start, and then you have the Super Bowl on President's Week, that's a pretty good idea. I like that idea. I'm gonna start a petition right now.
Let's go just real quick. We have some score.
Real quick, I have a quick hot take on top of it. When no one has. I've heard talk about. Anybody think the guy wanted to get divorced? Like he came back. His wife had a crappy season to begin with. Losing record. The guy just wanted to get out there and Giselle. No one's talking about it. Think about it.
I think that could be the
Why
narrative.
would he? He's not going to say it out loud. He looks like a jerk. But I'm thinking he wanted to get out. Why would you wait 6 more months for him?
Something was going on.
I mean, coming back definitely put a strain on that. I think she was all excited. She probably told him, what else do you need to accomplish? I mean, you're 45 years old. Everything you want to do. Why do you keep playing? Your kids need you. They're at an age now where, they're not little kids anymore. They need your help. They're in middle school, high school. You need to be a dad at home. You're retired. I think the unretirement really killed that. And if you're Tom Brady, what did you say, Bobby? He wanted to get divorced?
Yeah,
Have you seen her paychecks? Her paychecks? I wouldn't want to get divorced to that. Oh my goodness, she makes more money than him. What could be better than that? But who knows? I mean, she's a supermodel. Who wants to get divorced to that? But
And I don't think he's done with football. Tom Brady will be back in some capacity.
Well, he is. He already signed a contract.
which I'm not too happy about, by the way. If you had the season, you saw the season that Greg Olson had. If you're Fox, the more talent you have, I mean, obviously people are going to watch because Brady is the number one for the first game. It really doesn't matter about who watches when you have these stars in the booth. I know everyone wants to be the next Tony Romo, who just had an abysmal season last year. We're talking about broadcasting the NFL, which is really a big part of it. When you're talking about such a media conglomerate like the NFL, your announcers, everyone wants to be the next Tony Romo, Tom Brady. After losing Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, they brought in Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. They had a great performance on there on the Super Bowl. I mean, even throughout the playoffs, they came in the biggest moments. They really shined out well. Greg Olson, an amazing number one guy. They just spent almost $400 million to get Tom Brady in the broadcast booth, and now Olson's probably going to lose $7 million going down to the number 2 spot. People still watch the Super Bowl as one of the most highest rated Super Bowls. The announcers, that'll be my hot take. The announcers don't matter as far as name. If you know your football, it doesn't matter to me whether you're Greg Olson, Tom Brady. As long as you're a good announcer, that's all we care about
I
as
think
fans.
they experimented years ago with no announcers, just showing the game. That was a little test that they ran. And then sometimes in New York, growing up as a kid, my dad did it very often. Turn the sound down on the TV and then put Marty Glickman on the radio sound, and watching the TV. Every giant game. Marty Glickman with the AM radio there with the TV.
They call that the Michael K. If you turn off the volume on the TV while you're watching a game, that's what they call it. I'm sure Bobby Blackjack, as a Yankee fan, can agree to that. But yeah. Rizzuto. Holy cow, right, Doc?
No, he was always talking about cannolis and pastries, making me hungry. Phil was this ultimate salesman.
Phil Rizzuto, man.
Well,
Kind of going into broadcast talking about sports.
He'd be in the booth during you see the thunderstorm coming in. He got real nervous. So he had to drive home at 89 years old. Great times. Great times.
And a great shortstop. And a great shortstop, Bobby.
Underrated. Underrated. Underrated.
Will he ever go to the Hall, Bobby?
You would think he would at least get to the broadcast. He's a legend.
What constitutes a legend? Just a fan favorite or the quality of the broadcast? Because
fan favorite, quality of the broadcast.
He made it fun. He made baseball fun.
you just have to be a pioneer in whatever to get in the Hall of Fame.
I think so. Plus longevity. Longevity of his career. So.
And if we're on the topic of Hall of Fame, Doc, did you see who made it into the Baseball Hall of Fame this year?
No, I didn't. Well, I'll tell you probably who didn't. Mark McGuire.
Oh, my goodness. But
Sammy Sosa.
if we had a pull up the results here, because I have some very discrepancies with this Hall of Fame ballot voting. I mean, Scott Rowland. I don't know if you ever remember watching Scott Rowland.
Yeah, Philadelphia Phillies.
Yep, in the hot corner. I think Bobby Blackjack will agree that he is not.
It's like a head scratcher. It's like he doesn't stand out.
Exactly, he doesn't stand out.
He was a strikeout king, if I remember.
Below him, I think Todd Helton deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Going into his fifth year, I know they don't want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Everyone's going to say Coors Field, but he had just about the same numbers wherever he went. I believe also Andrew Jones, I think, can make a very strong case for the Hall of Fame. But Scott Rowland at 76%, only his sixth try. I think that shouldn't even be anywhere close to the number that he deserves, which is probably only in the 40s or 50s. I do not agree with the Scott Rowland Hall of Fame. Not even just the numbers, but he was a consistent player, but he was never really the best at his position for a while. And I think that above anything else really constitutes you as a Hall of Famer. You know, if you put together some consistent years and put up some decent numbers, which was really Scott Rowland in a nutshell, but he had to be the best at his position for at least 5 years, which I think makes a good Hall of Fame candidacy, a good resume. But I mean, Scott Rowland doesn't really check off any of those boxes for me. Very, very interesting type of Hall of Fame class for 2023. Of course, A-Rod came in at number 8. He only got 35% on his second year. I mean, 35, that's a tall mountain to climb in your second year.
It is a tall amount, but the writers are looking at a couple of things. One is Pete Rose going to ever get in the Hall of Fame? He's been on baseball. And the other is steroid use. I never knowingly took it. It's not an excuse for steroids. If it's in your system, it's in your system. They're testing you, not someone else. So that's going to be a tough. There's going to be little asterisks in the Hall of Fame.
So, Bobby, you agree that Scott Rowland should not be in the Hall of Fame?
I think it was more deserving players. Maybe it wasn't the first ballot.
No, he was on his sixth ballot.
One thing about Rose, which is kind of a shame, is that the conjecture is that you're waiting for him to pass away. And then that year, I'll get voted in. Like, they use it like a whole spite thing against him, like not doing it now while he's still alive. Come on.
He has the numbers. Definitely has the numbers.
He has the numbers. I think the Hall, that'd be a very, very questionable thing to do, to wait until he passes away. Nothing surprises me with this Baseball Writers Association, so I can't say anything about that. They like to hold their grudges. They like to think that they're on the high horse looking down at us, and they get to determine who goes down.
Well, eventually the older writers are going to pass. I don't want to say pass on. They'll retire from writing. I think it makes still holding both those too. But eventually, you get some new generation of writers in there that will eventually balance things out.
That's one of the things that people can't stand about baseball is really how tough they are to change. They're very resistant to all the different needs that need to be had. The Writers Association doesn't help for sure. Definitely a reason why baseball is having high rolling. Oh my goodness, they did this. You really have to look at the blueprint of the NBA and the NFL and how they really construct their sport. Deserving players, getting into the very nitty gritty of some of the technicalities, I think. But Doc, I mentioned the NBA. We had a good All-Star game, or a good All-Star festivities last night. Tonight, a different format. They're not making this right before the game, which I also hate. But in an NBA, unlike the MLB, they have to change at least a new rule like every day. That's what the NBA has to do. They just have to keep overturning it. Adam Silver came into the league as a great commissioner, doing some very big things off the bat. But I think that this is just unnecessary. Bobby's rolling his eyes. He's got something to say again about it.
Yeah, everything revolves around LeBron James. When he wants, he gets. And I think once he retires, all that money, he's not going to do it until his son. Here's what I think is crazy also. Like he keeps saying that he wants to play one team with his son. What if his son's not good enough? You're going to force some franchise to draft your son and waste a pick because you want to play with him?
LeBron James has held three NBA franchises hostage for the last 20 years. So I don't know what another year has to, what really it changes. It does revolve all around LeBron James. This whole new format, did that have anything to do with LeBron? Did he have any input in it, or just more that was just a?
I guess you're trying to get back to the roots of basketball. Shoot ball. You're younger, you just play in the park, and like, all right, I'll pick you, I'll pick you. They're trying to get back to the roots of basketball that we all.
It's all offense anyway.
Oh, I know.
Game's going to be 170.
Nobody wants to get hurt, obviously. It's just, I don't know.
No one wants to get hurt. Load management is a very big issue.
Pro-am, the pros can sit on the bench and then they coach the amateurs. It's the All-Star game.
It's coming to that right now where they're not really playing in the All-Star game. And we have a lot of new faces, a lot of young guys. We're kind of taking the league by storm in this new All-Star game, 2023. They're not picking the teams until right before the game, like we said.
How many people will watch? How many people will watch the NBA All-Star game?
It's a good show.
Coming on tonight. Long weekend. I mean, we at least you're off tomorrow. No, so.
Yeah.
I find it's crazy. Utah is like, they're a dry state.
You're going to be finding another weekend in the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah, they're all kind of group of people who they go from the Grammys, Super Bowl to NBA All-Star weekend to the Academy Awards. So as long as those four are somehow in sync, they can do it without interruption. That's they'll keep that balance somehow.
And of course, week 7 at Roma has to fit in somewhere. And this is the week coming up here.
Doug, last time I was here, week 7. Remember our friend Mr. Stitsky? There was 85 degrees outside.
Yes. We played touch football. If I was wearing this jacket right here, it would be hot. I'd wear a t-shirt.
35 degrees for about 2 days.
February.
Oh my goodness! I should have been here for week 7 last year. We're rocking like 35 degrees right now here in Calicut today. We got plenty of good stuff coming up. We're in Roma tonight. We got
Johnny Lampert, comedian. And of course,
followed by late night bingo. Tomorrow we got the young singing sensation, correct?
Yes. Anthony Claus is back at the Roma tomorrow night. More late night. Bobby Blackjack will be up here tonight. DJ, right here on the mezzanine at Roma. We got a big week coming up. Timeshare sold out. Emerald Society is here right now. And Peter from Peter's Meat Market coming up with the family for the whole week.
Better not come up empty-handed.
Oh boy. Peter's coming up.
Doc, before we kind of wrap this up, let's take one last look at golf because this has been a great genesis. Hoping, John Rahm, And the best golfer in the last month. But Max Homa had made it interesting. He was going 2 under 4. John Roma sitting at 8. Now John Rahm, he's in the last 2 holes going into the back 9. John Rahm 17 under par, and Max Homa 15 under par. I'm rooting for just a close golf match. I think that's what anyone wants, no matter who the winner is. It's not really like rooting for a favorite team and you want someone to dominate golf. You want something to come down to the holes. John Rahm, Max Homa, Patrick Cantley round out top 3.
All right, let's go. Let's go. The racing, NASCAR down at Daytona, real quick. Who you liking in Daytona?
Well, we had had someone tell me that they liked Bubba Wallace in the Daytona 500. That's not a bad bet. He's coming second place twice at the Great American Race. For some reason, I'm getting Eric Almirola vibes. He's maybe just it's the best bang for your buck. He's starting out 4th, good restricted plate racer. But Denny Hamlin's going to be the obvious favorite, winning 3 races. He won 2 in a row, I believe it was 3 years ago. I don't think Kyle Larson's going to pull it off. He's not a very restricted plate racer. If I were a bet man, kind of the 3 names that come to mind, I do like Doc Holliday. Oh, yeah. Eric Almirola.
Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin. And my long shot, Christopher Bell. This guy coming out of the great pick crew, Christopher Bell, setting records. And Bobby Blackjack, I want to thank you for putting this together. Roma TV is going to be kind of a regular thing. And we'll tell you how you can be part of. If you want to advertise, on Roma TV, you can get a hold of Bobby Blackjack or myself. Send us a personal message, and we'll get you as promotions and advertiser on Roma TV.
Let's do something before we say goodbye here. I'm going to pass it over to Bobby Blackjack. Let's go around here. It's just kind of a sports roundtable. Let's just say maybe. How about just a hot take? Just give me something that you want to get off your chest about the world of sports before we say goodbye here. Bobby Blackjack, let's go over to you.
As you can tell from my hat, I'm a Giants fan. I think the Giants should sign Daniel Jones. Let's Saquon Barkley go. Hopefully he goes to the Buffalo Bills, and I'll put him over the top. But if I'm running back anywhere, whether it be a draft or a good free agent. Talk about hot take. I know a lot of give and take here. Daniel Jones stays. Saquon, unfortunately, great character. You don't draft running backs number 2.
Doc Holliday, anything you want to comment on the world of sports right now as we say goodbye?
Let's go to the world of table tennis. The company Killer Spin. They're killing it out there. They have a 4-star table tennis ball. It's easy to hit, and it is tremendous. Why not the Villanova place for table tennis?
And for me, I'm always going to be the first. My love is baseball. Yankees baseball going into spring training, starting up. A couple of things that I've been hearing about. Number 1, Aaron Hicks starting in left field. That makes me sick to my stomach. I don't think that Aaron Hicks. He obviously has to be on the team because of the albatross of a deal that he has 3 years left on that. The fact that the Yankees didn't really bring in any external options to fill that left field spot, at least give him some competition. I know you can't do everything. I know that's priority number 1, pitching number 2. But I mean, look at the Blue Jays and what they signed the outfielder from, I believe it was Arizona. They signed him for a small deal. Just give him someone who was Peralta.
One of those guys, yeah. I think Peralta went to the Dodgers.
Peralta was at the Dodgers.
Profar.
Profar would have been a great deal for the Yankees in left field. Going into the spring training, I'm feeling a little. It's going to be a great season for the Yankees, but we're seeing that Josh Donaldson's going to start at third base again. I'm asking myself who DJ LeMahieu is. I'm asking myself who's the number 5. And I watched Domingo Herman put up 20, 25 starts. There's a lot of questions that will be answered in spring training, but just the fact that you're going into spring training with questions, it's a team that's going into a big championship run for the Yankees. Doesn't make me as confident as I want to be. That's what I'm finishing off with here on Blackjack TV as a pinstripe fan.
I'd like to say we made it to the great President's Week weekend, and thanks for tuning in. BlackjackTV.net.
We got the doc. Special thanks, Bobby Blackjack.